I'm calling to order at 6:01 and a half. Southern Berkshire Regional School District School Committee meeting number 1647, Thursday, May 11th, 23 at 6 o'clock in the Mount Everett Library. Okay.
I'd like to advise the chair that I'm recording the meeting.
Oh,
I'm supposed to advise the chair that I'm recording
Right.
the meeting, which I am.
okay. Hi, that was quick. Great.
Where we want.
Excellent. All right. We are going to begin by taking a break. Our favorite annual activity, which is the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents, MASS, gives an award to an outstanding student in the graduating class each year. And Dr. Beth Rigobuto will, at this point, lead the honors.
Great.
All right, and we don't need this recorded.
Well, this part can be recorded.
Oh, okay.
Just the little
The
celebratory.
eating, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't need to.
All right, this part's recorded.
So, as Chairman Silver said, this is one of my favorite times of year because I get the honor of giving the Mass Association of School Superintendents Educational Excellence Award. So I would like to read the letter that our student is going to get. So our this year's recipient is Kelsey Eichstead, who is sitting over there. So we'll bring her up for photos and fun later. Dear Kelsey, it is my great pleasure to share that I have selected you to be the Southern Berkshire Regional School District's 2022-2023 recipient of the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents Certificate of Academic Excellence Award. This award was designed by the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents to honor a high school senior who has distinguished herself in the pursuit of excellence during her high school career. You have met the additional selection criteria, which includes your 3 cumulative year average and your class rank, in addition to the personal selection by myself. Not only do you demonstrate an illustrious track record of academic achievements, but you also possess the qualities of an active learner, such as independent and reflective thinking, initiative, and service. You are compassionate and caring both in the district and in the community, and exhibit an exceptional maturity as a responsible citizen with positive values, deep commitment, and collaborative skills. You do all of this while maintaining academic excellence at the highest level. Kelsey, you're a wonderful role model, and because of your strong work ethic and outstanding character, I know you will enjoy a bright future in whatever you choose to do. Congratulations on this award and on your many accomplishments. So, Kelsey. I'm sure you're thrilled we didn't tell you ahead of time, so come on up.
Let me get my camera going.
I have to tell you, so I do a little background research to learn about you. So I didn't believe you're going to study nursing. Yes, and so that's where I got all those little things that I used to describe you. So if you want to share with the committee anything you want to talk about. Wait, you don't have to. You can just say, you want. It's up to her.
It's up to you.
We're going to take a photo. We'll take a photo.
But the mic would pick you up if you got closer.
So we want to talk about maybe your future plans?
Okay, yeah. For my future, I plan on studying nursing, and I want to work my way up to being an RN and help people who need the help in hospitals. I've been a part of New Marlborough Fire Department, and I've enjoyed that experience, and it made me want to explore the medical side of that. And I've done EMS training, and that made me realize I wanted to become a nurse.
Great. And where are you going to school?
I'm studying at BCC and hopefully joining their pipeline project next year after doing the classes I need.
Good.
Congratulations.
I hope I don't need your services, but it's good to have.
Thank you.
Okay, so are you taking a photo, or are you?
Yes, I'd love to.
That's wonderful. Okay, I don't know where we're going, wherever she wants. Where you want.
Let's see, wherever I don't get a glare.
Oh dear, okay.
Okay.
I know this is very exciting for all of us. Sorry for my back. We'll get you in a few minutes.
Wonderful.
All right, I'm counting on you people for good photos.
Wow, don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Okay, look in here. Let me get another one. And I think you brought some people with you, so
Would you like to
we
get
have them.
I'll have a photo. It'll be as much fun as I'm having.
Mhm.
There you go.
Excellent,
Lovely memory.
excellent. Another one here, and we have our new Marlboro representative to join.
Individual picture, we don't remember this was okay.
No. Come on, new Marlboro.
That would be you.
Come on up.
The good news is next is cake. No.
All right. Excellent. What a group. And one other one. Thank you. Mhm. All right, we are moving on, so everybody.
hold on, he's
I'm just going to say, I will wait.
Recording in progress.
Okay. And congratulations again, Kelsey. And also for somebody who is really standing by community. We love it. All right, so let's go to the approval of the school committee minutes number 1647 from April. Do I have a motion?
Sorry, can you just, I don't know how to say it, sorry.
All you have to say is.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second on approving the minutes?
Aye.
Okay, we have one from Dennis. Do we have any notes regarding any comment? Okay. Um, No one? Except for me. Oh, it can't, it's not coming out on the same page. It's supposed to go on the, when it's on your computer, it's on 5. All right, I apologize. It's not, I can't find it because it's not on the same page. The only thing I had is the summary sheet that was designed for committees.
Okay.
It has to be voted on in the subcommittee before it goes to Lynette. So it shows it as just going to Lynette. Oh, here, it's actually on page 3, not on 5. Under Chairman's Report, the bullet 2, when a subcommittee meets, proper minutes must be drafted and submitted to Lynette Gagnon submitted after approval at the following subcommittee meeting. And that was the only thing I had. Okay. All right, so if no one else has an issue, let's take a vote on approving the minutes. Kim? Yes. That was a yes. Kyle?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Dennis?
Aye.
Carl?
I wasn't at.
You weren't there.
Well, I wasn't reading it, and although I watched it on CTSB, I still think I should abstain.
Okay, Nancy?
Aye, yes.
Okay, David?
Aye.
And Bonnie, aye. Thank you very much. Enrollment? Beth?
In your packet on 2B is the enrollment, which is at 614 as of May 1. We had 2 students who decided to be homeschooled, one in grade 9 and one in grade 11. I'm heading off any questions this month, which accounts for the change.
Thank you.
Can I have a question for?
Of course, go on.
I take it from your statement, and I probably should know the answer to this, but I don't. Homeschooled students are not included.
Correct.
As enrolled students.
That's correct.
Even though if they, when they're seniors in high school, they do graduate. Homeschooled students can graduate.
No, they do not get a Mount Everett diploma.
They do not get a what?
They do not
Mount
get a Mount Everett diploma.
What do they get?
They're not an enrolled Mount Everett student.
So,
They have a plan that they submit up until the age of 16, and then after that, they're not required to submit it to us.
so someone who's homeschooled through high school in this district
In every district.
will not get a high school diploma.
Correct.
Do they get a diploma?
Does that, we know if that creates an issue for them with college admissions or something like
It
that?
doesn't, and it also depends, there's so many homeschool programs out there. We have like 100 homeschooled students in our district, and not everyone follows the same program. I have 3 families that I know, 2 follow one program, and another follows another program. So they are guided by State of Mass, Department of Education, but not us.
Does it act like a?
Wait, we're not having cross conversation.
Sorry.
You'd like to be recognized. Carl, just so that you know, in dealing with this with homeschool students, they can go on to some of these commercial organizations that give you a homeschool program that are in line with the state of Massachusetts. But as Kim said, there's every variation on earth. And unfortunately, we actually don't have control at a certain point.
After 16.
Yeah,
Isn't it true that, I thought I read in the policy, it's either in the student parent handbook or in a policy, that the superintendent at the end of each year must review and give a summary of every homeschooled student's progress or status or what. Now, I mean, in the 8 years prior to last year that I was a member of the school committee, I never heard such a report. Am I incorrect in thinking that that?
The director of curriculum in this district, and Julie's there if you want, is the coordinator and has been in this district all the time. She can give you the process of what she's required to do with homeschool plans. She's up right here if you'd like to hear.
Okay, well, I don't want to take up time doing that, but I just.
But, I mean, we could fill you in on the process and the
Okay,
information.
so then just one follow-up question. If Kim's number is accurate or more or less accurate, the 614 students are on-campus students,
They're in seats, yes, they're accounted for.
and the 100 that Kim says in this district are homeschooled would, if they were, would be, if they would make our enrollment 714 if they were counted.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Beth regarding enrollment? All right, seeing none, thank you, Beth, as usual. Moving on.
I don't think we have any miscellaneous correspondence.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have miscellaneous correspondence, and it's, I think it's a segue from what we were just talking about.
first, if it's not submitted, has it been submitted?
to the school.
I'm going to submit it now. Does it say on the agenda that it must be submitted prior to the meeting?
No, it doesn't say on the agenda that must be submitted prior to the
So
meeting.
what's the objection to it being
No,
submitted
no, no,
now?
I just am asking, was it submitted?
In a manner of speaking, it was, but now it's going to be formally submitted.
I recognize you for your,
Okay, thank you.
no, neither do I.
A week ago, approximately a week ago, actually, literally last Friday, I was contacted by a resident, a tax-paying resident of the Southern Berkshire Regional School District, who homeschools his son, who is a junior. He requested permission, as I think all homeschool students must do, to participate in a school activity. He had, prior to this, participated with the school's approval in band, in theater, in field trips, and other in-school or out-of-school extracurricular activities without any problem. He asked to go to the prom. He was told by Julie Sternagel, the assistant principal, that per policy, a very brief email from her to him, per policy, and she attached two of provisions from the policy manual, that homeschool students could not attend the prom. In fact, neither of those policy statements say that. They don't say that. I wrote back to her and told her that putting aside the unfairness of it, the discriminatory aspect of it, which upset me, her policy, as per policy, policy should have been in quotes. It isn't as per policy. It's per the decision of someone, and we don't know what it's based on. And I think that there's something very unfair about that to homeschool students. The logical conclusion is that the school is discouraging homeschooling. And I think that's incorrect. If you want to discourage homeschooling, make it so onerous that people can't homeschool. In any event, I wrote back to Julie Sternagel with a fairly lengthy 8 paragraph letter. I sent copies of that email to Beth Regalbuto, to Bonnie Silvers, and to Jesse Carpenter. That was on May 6th, Saturday, 5 days ago. Less importantly than the issue, than the policy involved, which isn't the policy. By the way, there's also a provision in the Student Parent Handbook, a specific provision on page, I believe it is 69, relating to prom. There are A, B, C, D, E provisions relating to prom, homecoming dances. Of those 6 provisions, not one of them says anything about homeschooling students and whether they can attend or not. So a policy isn't a policy unless the person affected by the policy knows what the policy is and has a fair way of determining it. But relatively low down on my list is my distress at none of those 4 people that I sent my email to had even the barest courtesy of responding simply by saying, "Dear Carl, dear Mr. Stewart, we have received your your message regarding homeschooling and this specific instance, and we have taken it under advisement, and we will be back in touch with you. Zero, nothing from our administration, and I'm not happy about it. And here I have created a packet with the email exchanges and the policy provisions cited by Julie Sternagel and the provision in the student handbook. All of that's here, and I'd like to submit it as an exhibit to this, for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Just to let you know, after I received your email, this has been discussed as an issue. And the recommendation that I have, because this year is just about up, is that we refer to the policy committee to look at coming up with a clear policy that is in keeping with the handbook, et cetera. If there's confusion, or if there is an issue that you're bringing up in terms of rights of students, I think that this belongs in policy as a potentially new policy or a revision of an existing policy. So I would like to see that, after speaking with a number of people, that we have something that addresses this issue. It's not so clear cut because of the ambiguous nature of a lot of things, and because we always have allowed students to do theater, do other things that are homeschooled, and the parents have been very, very happy because that deals with a lot of the issues of social, emotional well-being. So we'll accept this, and I don't know, when we get to policy, there are two things that I'd like to see happen in terms of policy.
Well,
All right, so.
Let me, I'll finish, and then I have just one
Yeah,
comment.
I
and
just
then there are
want-
two other comments, but I just have
Okay,
one. Yeah.
Dennis had his hand up.
Okay.
Well, I guess the only comment I would make is that it is not in our policy, and basically that's the point that Carl is making, that we do not have that as a policy.
That's why I am suggesting that this is something that is referred to policy to deal with whether it is to be rectified, whether there is to be a new policy, whether it is to be addressed as a change to a policy.
I would disagree with you in that
Okay.
I think it's something that would have to go before the entire school committee for us to make a decision on, do we want that in our policy, period.
Okay, I would say, given that issue, we're not going to spend that extended amount of time, debating it tonight. I think it's definitely has caused an issue and has brought up several different points related to the issue, because had this individual been asked to the prom by any Mount Everett student, which a lot of cases we have, it would have been no issue whatsoever. So I think it requires that additional investigation into the issue to find out where we stand. But I'm going to turn to Kim.
So first of all, that's kind of not what happened, because I'm friends with both families.
Is there anybody you don't know in our district?
No, not really. So it wasn't the fact that, excuse me. Yeah, it was a girl. It wasn't the person that you're saying wasn't allowed to come to prom. He wanted to invite his own guest, who was a homeschool student not associated with our district. That's the issue with that whole thing. It had nothing to do with the boy you're mentioning.
It absolutely did. I disagree.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So-
All right,
I
let's
have to
not-
recognize-
I'm just saying,
sorry,
I'm-
but if I'm allowed to speak, that's just simply untrue.
But in the student manual on page 65, I believe, it gives the breakdown of homeschooled students, what the regulations are, and who can invite and who can't invite people to prom. I believe it's 65? Not 100%. But, because I read it myself, I was involved in this, but to make Carl happy, they're both going to prom. A resolution was struck, and both families are satisfied.
Okay, given,
I mean,
given,
I'll accept your characterization of it. I know well the parents of the male student.
I do too.
all right, Carl.
But let-
Let's do this, all right? We have a full agenda. This is an issue that, at this point, has been resolved for 23, and we could debate forever, but the issue does have to be referred to a committee to avoid this in the future. We will accept your document.
I'm in agreement with that. The one thing that still upsets me, and it will continue to upset me, is how I sent a letter to 4 members of the school administration, a principal, an assistant principal, the superintendent of schools, and the chair of the school committee, and not one of those people had the courtesy that I believe they would have extended to any other member of the community to acknowledge, simply acknowledge that I had sent it. I have to guess, because I'm a lawyer, this is how I think. I can't imagine that the 4 people did not get together and say, what are we gonna do about it? And decided to do nothing about it. I can't imagine each of those 4 people on their own made an independent decision to be discourteous. I
No.
think it was group discourtesy.
First of all, I will tell you, from my perspective, from me being one of them, I immediately was investigating it, spoke to Beth. Beth did investigation. Your whole issue was not ignored. I'm sorry you felt slighted. You're right.
Seem to have been ignored.
So I can say, obviously, I know that Beth and Jesse, Julie is the only one I haven't spoken to. We're investigating all of this. You were not ignored. And you are right. I should have at least acknowledged the receipt of that, along with the 9,000 other emails of different issues. So we are accepting your document, and we are going to see how we're going to deal with it. Okay, if that's okay in terms of miscellaneous correspondence, do we have a student representative report? I don't see one. Okay. Do we have a student spotlight?
I have a student spotlight to share with you via video. So
Great.
I'll share my screen and my sound to the Zoom. I'm going to put this up here, so I'm going to get that there. Okay, so this is a video we made highlighting soon-to-be graduate Michael Devote.
Hello, my name is Michael Devote. I am a senior here at Mount Everett, part of the 2023 class. And next year I'll be studying at SUNY Delhi in the construction management field. I was part of the carpentry program here last year, and we built a shed very similar to this, actually the same dimensions. And I really enjoyed putting together the shed from framing all the way put on the roof with all the shingle products and the drip edge, making all these precise cuts with the miters and
Yeah.
making it look really nice.
You did?
So here we are here in the wood shop here at Mount Everett. Guys from South Carolina this year are actually doing something very similar that I did in my past. So yeah, here we have a table saw, very nice piece of equipment in order to cut your size lumber. Here we have a smaller version of that, more portable, I guess.
This This is great.
A couple sets of band saws, and here's a scroll saw, which is for more intricate work. Here we have a lathe, which is really interesting. You're able to actually make table legs or whatever you want to turn in order to make something very interesting, including baseball bats. Here's more of like an oscillating sander, goes up and down, so you're able to really make your work very finished. Back here we have a pair of miter saws, and right adjacent to it is a planer, and then a joiner, and all this is all ducted up into a very intricate exhaust system, which is really interesting. And then over here we have a pair of drill presses, and we're using that as a grinder. Next year, I'm really excited to be a part of the plumbing and heating program my first year, and then the electrical program my second year, and then the following 2 years after that, I'll be part of the construction management program, which will really wrap everything up and allow me to get the knowledge base that I need in order to run my own business. Currently doing an internship with a guy by the name of Mike Gilmore. He owns a plumbing company which is actually located in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. For my schedule, on most days I'm able to leave at about noon, and then go and find wherever he might be and just try to work as much as I can until I have to come back for sports practices. With that, I found myself being able to work with him a lot over the school breaks. I was able to get like almost a full day of work in each day, and that's obviously starting at the shop, either making different fittings to go around different obstacles that you find in a new construction house, or making ducting to bring hot or cool air to different rooms within a household. So yeah, I really enjoyed my internship this year. Here we are now in the classroom that serves as the early college program through Sound Park. I'm currently enrolled in the early college program in the class of literature. It's actually been really helpful to me to reinforce and give me an experience of what next year at SUNY Delhi will look like in the classroom. In 5 to 10 years, I'll have my diploma from SUNY Delhi, and I hope to come back here and gain some more experience within the field of plumbing, which will be going through a journeyman's program, hopefully with Mike Gilmore. And then hopefully I'll have my own business, and you'll see me around the streets of Sheffield and surrounding towns.
Wow. Who put this together, Chris?
That's awesome.
I love it. Can you share it?
We're gonna put it, yeah.
This is, I mean, I'm prejudiced because I adore Michael, and I've seen him from when he could not stand up in front of anyone and talk in elementary school. A kid who has a number of issues related to learning difficulties. To see this it's what we're about. It really is what we're about. Thank you so much. Because this is a student who our school district really helped to become, who he is.
So I
Thank
think
you.
what I think is really exciting about Michael's opportunities is he's had the ability to experience an internship. He's had some college credits that are transferable for him moving forward. It shows that even though he is going to be doing trade work out, and there's more education, he can benefit from both, furthering his education in a college environment and then additional certifications afterwards. So it's kind of the whole package. So it was a perfect way to explain the opportunities that our kids have here.
And it's exactly because he was started out thinking a couple of years ago, plumbing or electricity, but through our programs, he learned about, the really growing field where Kim were of building, the management side, becoming a real contractor. So this is wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else have
We hope to
anything?
spotlight more students to the experiences that are happening from now through.
I know
yeah.
most people in the trades are willing to train.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
Michael Gilmore's a good person to train with.
yeah, well, that's good.
He's our plumber.
I still can't get a plumber to my house for my leak, but we won't talk about that. So that's, thank you. That was a great idea. All right, with that, we have any public comment? Okay, seeing none. Do we have the business manager's report?
There is no report tonight.
No report. Okay, business with district member towns. Lucy, you are on board.
Thanks. Thanks so much, Bonnie.
You're welcome.
I wish my plumbing issues could have waived Michael's graduation from wherever he's going to learn about plumbing, but unfortunately they can't wait that long. So I have one sort of important development to report out to the school committee since the last report. And it has to do with voting contingencies. And let me just give you some context before I describe what we've come up with. From the beginning of this process, we've recognized that having these merger discussions at a time when Berkshire Hills is in the MSBA process for a new high school presents both a tremendous opportunity, but also a challenge. The opportunity is there because Berkshire Hills has secured an incredibly valuable place on the list for state funding, and the state funding could be as much as 54% of the cost of a new school. So that translates into tens of millions of dollars. So being on that list, having that place is very valuable. The challenge is that it presents a bit of a chicken and the egg situation. We recognize that there are some, particularly in the southern Berkshire towns, who are uneasy about voting to merge without knowing more precisely what the cost of the new high school will be, even though the southern Berkshire share of any increase in costs would only be about 4% shared over the 5 towns. So that's one problem. The other problem, which is an even bigger problem, is that we don't want these merger talks to jeopardize in any way the ability of Berkshire Hills to get their new high school built. I think Tom Burkle put it most simply at our last planning board meeting, and that is that we need to be very careful to do no harm to that process. So here's the potentially problematic scenario that we have to solve for. Assume the residents in the 8 towns do vote to merge this fall, so that's 2023. But when it comes time to approve the debt to construct the new high school, which would be probably at the earliest third quarter 2024, the vote fails because one or more of the southern Berkshire towns says no, while all of the 3 Berkshire Hills towns say yes to approval of the debt. So the result there would be that because of the merger, the vote to approve the debt for the new high school fails. Berkshire Hills loses its place in line. Berkshire Hills students don't get the new high school they need. And the primary value proposition for the proposed merger, which is combining the high schools, which our research team believes will result in not just economies of scale, but greater educational opportunities and support resources for kids in both districts. That primary value proposition doesn't happen because the debt is not approved to move forward with the construction of a new high school for 620 kids, the combined enrollment. So that would be a bad result all the way around, right? We've merged, the value proposition for the merger doesn't come to pass, the new high school doesn't get built. So we've come up with what we think may be a solution to this problem, and it is an unwind button. So again, assuming there's a vote to merge this fall, a merged district is created with a transition committee that participates in the design of a new merged high school. But then assume the vote to incur the debt on the new high school fails, the unwind button would allow the merger to unwind. And so the merger would never be operationalized. So that solution gives the Berkshire Hills towns the comfort they need that Berkshire Hills will not lose its place in the MSBA line because of a no vote from residents in the Southern Berkshire towns on the debt. And it gives voters in the Southern Berkshire towns the peace of mind that they can vote for the merger, but if the cost of the new high school is significantly higher than currently estimated, and if that higher cost means that the economics no longer make sense to them, they will have a second bite of the apple. They can vote no on the debt, and if the debt approval fails, the merger unwinds. So the unwind mechanism effectively takes the issue of how close the current estimate for the construction of the new high school will be to the final projected cost of the new high school off the table. If the estimate is way off and a voter feels the actual cost changes the economics significantly for their town, they will have the opportunity to vote no on the debt, and if the debt fails, the merger unwinds. We floated this idea with DESE. It's not something they've seen before, but they've also never seen before the merger of two regional school districts, so we would be a first if we accomplish this. They did appreciate the problem, and they appear to be generally supportive of an unwind solution. So while we haven't gotten a firm yes from their legal department yet, we also haven't gotten a no, and we haven't heard any reason why this wouldn't work. So the plan now is to draft some language that would be put into the regional agreement that would provide for this unwind mechanism. And our plan is to present that at the next planning board meeting. So that's really the news from the 8-town planning board. Happy to take any questions folks might have.
Do we have questions? David?
Lucy, you had mentioned that 4% of the bill would approximately be, assuming this was all approved, would be assessed to the towns in the Southern Berkshire Regional School District. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the current estimate is around $300 million for the new school. Is that, assuming that's all approved, is that correct?
No.
I'm sorry, David, I didn't hear the last part of that.
Oh, sorry.
He said. No, it's 100 million, not 300 million.
Okay. That still means that each town is going to be facing.
Lucy, can you hear him now?
Yeah,
Okay.
That still means each town is going to be facing a bill of roughly $3 million, and I think that's something that
is something the towns should be thinking about. It's not an insignificant amount of money. There's also, the unwind provision sounds reasonable, but I don't know if it should be like a guaranteed thing. And so that's what I was really wanting to know from Lucy is the unwind provision, assuming it's approved, automatic, or is it simply an option?
No, if the debt isn't approved, and that's not gonna happen, right, until third quarter 2024, that vote at the earliest, then, yes, the regional agreement would provide that the merger unwinds. Now, the one thing we haven't talked through yet is the possibility of a second vote. So maybe we'll draft into the regional agreement that there are 2 chances to get that debt approved before the merger unwinds. But if it does fail, the unwind will happen because Berkshire Hills, we've heard a lot about the concerns of the southern Berkshire towns about the cost of the new high school. There's equal concern, if not greater concern, on the part of the Berkshire Hills towns that this merger not get in the way of their ability to build a new high school. So if the debt for a merged high school is not approved by the requisite 2/3 when that vote happens, Berkshire Hills wants to be able to move forward with a new high school for just its, 485 kids. I'm sorry, is that right? No. Yeah, 485 kids. And so the way that happens is that there is an automatic unwind of the merger if the debt is not approved for construction of the merged high school, so that Berkshire Hills can go forward and construct a high school for just its 3 towns. And what Berkshire Hills is talking about right now is actually having 2 votes taken at the same time when we get to that debt approval. So there would be the vote on approval of the debt for construction of an 8-town high school. And in Berkshire Hills, there would also be a vote to approve the debt for the construction of a 3-town high school. So if the 8-town vote fails, they'll still have, assuming the vote passes on the 3-town high school, they'll still have the vote they need to go forward with the construction for the 3-town high school.
Thank you. Kim?
Well, I have 2 questions.
Can you hear Kim, Lucy?
Yes.
So you're saying that the first vote, which we have a merge, if it passes, then a transition board comes through. So we have an operating school committee here, an operating school committee there, a transition board, which is making decisions for a merged school district.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, we unwind, but we've done all this stuff. There's policies that's been put in place for a merged school district. That just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, the hope, of course, Kim, is that
It's not about hope.
we don't have an unwind. And we think that the likelihood of an unwind, if we get a positive vote on the merger, we think the likelihood that we're going to get a no vote on the debt is low. But it's possible. And Berkshire Hills is not willing to take that risk. And I don't think we should be asking them to take that risk. They need to build a new high school for the kids who are currently at Monument. Either with us or without us, they're going forward. So we need a mechanism in place that allows that to happen. And no one is interested in putting off the vote on whether, look, the residents in the 8 towns have any interest in pursuing this for another year plus. We've done the work. We're ready to make a recommendation or not. We haven't taken that vote yet. But there's no point in doing any additional work until we hear from the residents of the 8 towns whether this makes sense to them. You know, nobody knows, sitting here today, where the majority opinion lies in any of the 8 towns. And until we have that vote, we won't know. And so we need to take that vote, find out if there's genuine interest in these 8 towns to move forward. If the answer is no, our work is done. If the answer is yes, let's move forward, get ready for a merged district, and if the debt fails for some reason on an 8-town high school, which I sincerely hope won't happen, then there needs to be an unwind. But I don't think that's the probable scenario, but it's a possible scenario that we have to guard against under the do no harm theory, right? We don't want to harm in any way Berkshire Hills' ability to get a new high school built for the kids in Berkshire Hills.
May I do my second now?
Okay, your second?
So you're going to ask the community to take a vote on a school and school district without a cost of a new building because you don't have accurate figures, and you're going to do an unwind, but knowing as a builder that most costs come as you build. It doesn't, you have a baseline, and then as you go, it gets more expensive. So how far into this building project do we get to unwind?
Yeah, I don't think that's a fair characterization.
It's realistic.
Well, you know, you can interrupt me and not let me respond, or you can let me respond. It's up to you.
You can respond, but don't say it's unfair characteristic when it's actually
right, let's-
everyday life.
Let's let Lucy respond.
Okay.
First, as you know, we've done a lot of work in coming up with the estimate that has been used in the modeling, recognizing that it's an estimate and we don't have all the information yet. By the way, that estimate was made, that estimate of $100 million was made assuming high school enrollment of 700 kids. We have now learned that the right number is 620 kids. So that estimate may be high, at least based on the methodologies that were used to come up with that estimate. We've done the best we can with the information we have to put forward a reasonable estimate. It may be more, Kim. It may be 10% more, it may be 20% more, it may be 50% more. I would submit to you that from Southern Berkshire's perspective, even if it's 50% more, the economics still work. You can look at the numbers and satisfy yourself on that, or not. But I have. In terms of the unwind, I agree. In best case world, right, we have the actual number now of what the cost would be to build a school for 620 kids. We don't. And we're not going to get that number unless we hear from the towns that they're interested in this. It doesn't cost nothing to design a school for 620 kids, right? If there's no interest in proceeding with this merger, how can we ask the taxpayers of Berkshire Hills or Southern Berkshire, a combination of the two, to pay for the cost of designing a larger school before we know if people are really interested in a merged high school? So I would submit that the timing that we've proposed, the two-step process, actually makes a lot of sense and respects the will of the voters. It's up to the voters to decide whether they think this merger makes sense. And I would have hoped that you would have welcomed this two-step process, because one of your major objections that you have articulated over the course of the last several months is that we don't know the cost of the new high school. Well, this gives you a way to separate that issue from the initial vote. If you don't like the cost of the combined high school, you can vote no on debt approval when we get to that point. But let's talk about whether you like the idea of the merger. right? Whether you see the economies of scale, whether you see the educational benefits. That's what we should really be debating now.
Okay, we have 4 more minutes. Are there other comments from people who haven't spoken? All right, before I call on you again, David, I have a couple of questions. I read somewhere that Berkshire Hills is putting in for a repairs to the building. Again, I don't know if they submitted it again to Massachusetts Building Authority, or they're just doing it with their own towns. But I heard this from someone who voted in Great Barrington. What do you know about
I don't know
that?
what you're talking about, Bonnie, but I wouldn't be surprised, since this new high school is not going to get built for some number of years, that they're needing to do some repairs. I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
No, not at-
I don't have any information about that.
Okay. Then the other thing you spoke about, we, a few times in terms of doing this, but your management subcommittee has not gotten together. So who is the "we"? Aside from you, who is the "we" that's working on this proposal to unwind?
Well, as you know, Bonnie, I raised it as an idea at our planning board meeting and got a lot of support from representatives of the planning board for the idea, including from representatives of the Southern Berkshire towns, and I did not hear you object to the idea.
No,
in any way.
don't say I'm objecting. I just wanted to know who was involved in this. Okay?
Well, I think we've all recognized Jake, Desi, Peter Dillon, anyone who's been thinking about this, that we have to design these votes in a way that doesn't jeopardize the ability of Berkshire Hills to move forward with its high school if the debt is not approved. So it's not a new issue. I certainly have been thinking about it for the last 2 years. And the idea of an unwind button is an idea that came up with Jake and with our 8-town council and with Desi.
All right, my other comment, 2 years ago at a meeting, said to Peter Dillon, I don't want to be hurting your end goal. And I've been conscious of that all along. I think the things that have been brought up are issues. Unwind sounds like a possibility, but you're talking about 2 districts having to function, it sounds like 3 superintendents, an interim. So I have a lot of questions with that, but I appreciate your letting us know about this option. David, if it's really quick, because we're over by 3 minutes.
Well, I just wanted to say that I think both Lucy and Ms. Alcantara here have made points that are both correct, and they're kind of talking past each other. I think Kim's statement that we don't really know what it's going to look like cost-wise, even with an estimate, no matter how good that estimate is true. And I also think that Lucy's statement that having an option to unwind is worthwhile because we don't know is also true. They're both true statements. But also, I find it illuminating because this tells me that the Berkshire Hills District has essentially decided that the new school is a deal breaker. If we don't join with them in building the school, then we don't join. And that I think is going to be a illuminating thing and probably does not bode well for the future of this endeavor.
Okay, all right. With that, Lucy, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the time. I appreciate it.
Yes, and you're welcome to stay or go and live your life.
This is my life, Bonnie.
I know. I know, that's, I think for too many of us. The chairman's report, I'm gonna make this super fast. One, we're going to be getting information on Beth's evaluation. There are several of you who are brand new. This has to be done, and this is by law. It has to be turned in by the end of June. Beth will give us additional details. Jim is not here, but this was discussed in the superintendent's evaluation. So please be aware of it online. It will not be that hard or odious to do. Beth will also, people have been asking, and I know in your communities have asked, our follow-up to the February 7th event. We're really pleased that May 23rd, put it in your calendar at 7 o'clock, where we will be doing the TAC Pack, and hopefully we will have at least as many people as we did the 100 or so in February 7th, and it will be around the issues of the education report that the Bar Foundation came up with. And please let people know, because the report will only take about 20 minutes or so. It's the opportunity for people to ask questions about education. Yes, sir, Carl.
I don't, if you said it, I didn't hear it. What time on the 23rd?
7.
How is the public being advised?
Oh, wait till you get to Beth.
Oh, okay.
All right. And already in Sheffield, they're making a big announcement at Monday's select board meeting. Renee is going to put it all over the place. And then at the June 7th, when we're all getting together with Dorothy Presser, one of our moms who has, don't apologize, children come first. I think what we will wind up doing is having our culinary program, if it's possible. We'll make it nice inside the Eagles Loft, but that way you'll only have to walk from the elementary school to the Eagles Loft.
Thank you. I can come at 6, and then I'll just scoot out and then come back.
Right,
So that-
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Always are your children, except when I want to go to a softball game. Go ahead, Dennis.
What was that date for Dorothy Presser?
7th,
June
June
7th.
7th. That's the date that everyone
Okay,
agreed to.
because I've had all kinds of different dates.
No, I sent
for
out
that.
at least 2 notes that it's the 7th.
Okay, yeah, it is on my calendar.
Good, excellent.
Okay, Dorothy Presser.
Yeah,
I need to
okay.
cross it off of an earlier date. That's what.
Okay, with that, I'm not going to go into anything else. I'm turning it over to Beth.
Sure, so I wasn't really going to be the one to speak on it at this point, because I think it's something that comes out of the community outreach and advocacy meeting, so, but we will do, just to, in response to Carl's question, when we did the last community conversation with the superintendent and school committee, we advertise it the same way. It's a subcommittee of the school committee, it's posted that way. Tomorrow, I will be writing, as I usually do, to the district with little updates on things. I will start to mention it, there'll be a flyer done. The principals will put it in their newsletters, we'll put it up on all of our social media, so we will give anybody and everybody the opportunity. We will say that there's childcare available for families. We did it at 7 o'clock with the hopes that people could get home, feed their children or maybe eat some dinner and then come. So we're trying to make it as conducive to as many people being able to attend as are able. So that wasn't any part of my report. Okay. I did put a report into your packets. The Senate Ways and Means has released their budget, and what I thought would be beneficial was to list out everything that I reported with the House Ways and Means just about a month ago and talk about any potential changes. And I think I'll just highlight the changes here quickly, but it's in the packet, that's posted for all to see. The regional transportation reimbursement, which, was shockingly set at 100%, for the first time in my 18 years, went back to what I suspected at 90%. I think the universal school lunch isn't in this budget because it is in the supplemental,
What was the transportation this year?
just around 90.
Oh,
But our expenses, remember, this is on the prior year, so we had such a huge increase. This will be helpful to be up in this range. I think really important to note is that the rural aid, which we started with this year, up from, it was about 7.5 million last year, up, it started years ago, which we didn't qualify for at 1.5, went up to 10 million, and now with this budget, increased to 15 million. So I'd like to think the advocacy that we've been doing is being heard. That's about a quarter of where we need it to be, but it's going in the right direction. There's still, the other part, we actually got a thank you as an early college partner from the state, but the early college funding, early college and career activities, dual enrollment grant, and a new allocation of $10 million for the college and career activities was added. So it's a fully funded priority, and it's something that I think is important as that the state is valuing very much. So it's good news that that is fully funded. Our FY24 budget passed by strong margins in all 5 towns, including a unanimous vote from the town of Alford Tuesday night. I just wanted to say we greatly value and appreciate the support that we receive from our district stakeholders, and we take that very seriously. We did talk about the budget mailer went out and has continued to be an impressive investment for us because I think people get information. We did have a little blip in New Marlborough where 2 villages did not get it. We made copies and brought it with us to the town meeting. That will be corrected moving forward. And here is the note on the community conversation. We did a combination application with our partners at Simon's Rock for the Transcend Rural Schools Grant. This is another opportunity to really engage our communities in reimagining school models, especially with rural schools, and looking at innovative models from around the country. We made it to the final site visit round. I'm working right now to set that up, so I'll be in contact with all of you because I'd love to have as many, there's focus groups and students and a lot of community engagement involved in this to see if this is a right fit for all of us. So as soon as I know more, it needs to be done before the end of this year. So we're thinking about sometime in June. And the Massachusetts Association of School Business Officials Conference is next week. So I'll be attending that and bringing back lots of great information as always. So that's my report for tonight.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Beth? Okay, seeing none, I will go to Julie for an update.
Good evening. Sorry that Sandy and I were unable to attend tonight's meeting in person. We've just finished 2 very productive days working with the Department of Ed and our partners at our Learning Acceleration Network grant. And so that's why we were a couple of minutes late getting on, and we would have been even later if we had tried to be in person. But we'll report out more about that after we've had an opportunity to share with our administrative team.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay,
Yes.
Sandy?
What she said. Good evening. But I also just wanted to say, unfortunately, with the change in date for Special Olympics, I was unable to go yesterday, but I understand it was a beautiful, perfect day and that the students had a great time. And at our next meeting, I hope to be able to have a student spotlight and share a little more information about the results of yesterday.
That will be great, because all the pictures that have been posted, it looks like our kids, really had, I saw half of Honor Society there helping, and all of our kids and other students not in our district who participated. You really, it's a real priority, and it looks like it was beautiful.
And I
So,
understand they won the banner, they won first prize for their.
Really?
banner. Nice. About that, yes.
way to go.
We'll share more at the next meeting. for sure.
Fantastic. All right. New business, we do not have the purchase agreement to deal with. So we'll move on to B, the school choice. Every year, what we have to do is determine the seats available. First, are we participating in the school choice program? And then two, we determine the number of seats available in each grade. So the objective is you're not causing a new class to be created. What you're doing is saying, if we have this many students projected for a grade, this is, if we participate, these are how many additional students we could take. With that, I'm turning it over to Beth.
I would just say that Lynette gave me explicit instructions. The only thing we are required to vote on, or the committee is required to vote on, is whether or not we are participating in the school choice program, period. The rest of this information is ours internally, just so that you can see what the principals have projected. These are projected numbers, and for spaces, so that if the committee does continue to support school choice, we would look at this as a guide when people are asking to choice into the district.
Well, that makes our lives a lot
Doesn't it?
easier.
It does, yeah.
Therefore, I will, if someone will entertain a motion that we participate in school choice for the 23-24 school year. Dennis?
Before you start that, can somebody tell me how many school choice kids we have now? Anybody know what the number is? I don't know.
Yeah, we've had it.
Yeah, that should probably be.
We've had that, but
Yeah, but we
need-
have it in our enrollment sheet. You can look back and see. There's,
Oh, is
Yeah.
it in the,
It is, we get it every month in
It's a-
one of the
yeah.
reports.
there's a detailed report, I believe.
But we first need to have a motion
oh,
on
that's
the
right,
floor.
yeah.
So
So
we do
moved.
have that information. All
Oh,
right,
that's right,
Carl
it's right in
moved, I
there,
need
isn't
a,
it?
I need a
Second.
second on that, that's Art. All right, so we have a motion. Is there any discussion related to this? Carl.
I believe in, I don't want to be held to anything near an exact number on this, but I think the discrepancy between choice in and choice out is that we have about 100 more choicing out than choicing in. I think it was something like 147 to 47. I heard that a few weeks ago. That may not be entirely accurate, but my question is not that. What is the financial effect of having negative choice in? In other words, choicing out more people than we choice in. That costs our district money, yes?
Yes.
It
But
doesn't
not
cost us
really.
money. It
It's
doesn't
like-
bring in additional money.
Right.
It's not costing us anything. We are operating the way we're operating. Choice either adds, if you have room in there, you've already paid for the classroom, the teacher, the equipment. You're not increasing your costs. You're gaining
No.
a proportion. I'm just saying. So whether they choice out or not, that's not relevant to costing us money. I mean, it's not a great, no one wants that. I mean, that's a different thing, but it's not because we choose to participate in the choice program, we're losing money. Do you see what I'm saying? They're gonna choice out if they want to regardless.
So,
You mean there is no financial difference to the district if we have 300 choicing in and none choicing out than if that were reversed?
I'm saying you certainly can't get any income or encourage any, if you don't participate, right? so
No, but that is-
we're not, yeah,
but that's
I know what
not
you're
the
saying.
question.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Yes, we would benefit from more students choicing in.
For
Right.
sure, moving in.
That is from every year, we say that, yes.
A quick follow-up question to that. If we vote, which I think is unlikely, but if we vote not to continue the choice program, does that mean we don't accept choice people and we don't allow our students to choice
No.
out? We can't do the second part of that.
Right,
Exactly,
We must allow students to choice out.
Exactly.
That's state
Right.
law.
right.
Okay.
This is just allowing students to choice into our district. Question, David?
Yeah, if we vote against permitting school choice, and again, I agree, Carl, that that's unlikely. If we vote against school choice and those children are choicing out, the money still goes to them, or does that money remain here in the district?
no, once you have accepted a choice student, they become your student
No.
so let me finish. So those would be in our district. So if they then choice out, like next year, even though we didn't accept any more choice in, the money would still follow them.
Okay, one other question then. So we vote, assuming we vote to permit choice, we're only voting on permitting choice, and the number of children accepted or not is solely at the discretion of the district administration.
And that's why you have the chart there. So in other words, the district administration has determined these are the number of slots that they will make available for students to choice in. That's an administrative decision, that's Beth's team determines that. All we are approving is that we are agreeing, based on the motion, to participate in school choice. And we can only determine what we are allowing in terms of students to choice into our district. Okay? So, any others? Yes, sir.
I just have a question about the numbers, the 147. Is that students deciding to go to another district, that 147? Or is that like homeschooling and private school, and is it all?
It is choicing into another district,
Okay,
Public school.
in a public school.
right. Got it.
Okay. All right, seeing done, we will take a vote on participation in school choice. Kim?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Yep.
Nancy? David?
Aye.
And Bonnie, yes. And you've got the approval
Great.
unanimously for our participating in school choice. Thank you so much, Lynette, for making it easier. Okay. The budget and town meeting update.
I gave it as part of my
Yeah,
report, so-
Exactly. Well, I was so pleased to see, I mean, Art remembers what it can be like in Sheffield, Dennis as well. So it was really nice to see those results. We have any unfinished business? Seeing none, let's move on to subcommittee reports. Sarah?
Nothing for finance.
Okay. Community relations, Nancy has a report for us.
I have a report that they do. So we set the date for the community meeting for May 23rd at 7 o'clock, probably in the TAC Act, most likely for a combination of reasons, not the least of which is including air conditioning. And we also, Lucy asked us to work with her for an agenda item for Department of Regional Planning. That's something we'll be looking at. The big thing is how to get more information out. One of the big things is how to get more information out to the town, to the newsletters that are within the received, and maybe you can answer, Egremont, or else I'll call Mary Kyle. And I think that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
We're going to work on our end-of-year newsletter.
Right,
All right, yeah,
right.
yeah, and then we have an end of year, yeah, right. Right, yeah.
A
Things I'm trying
feel-good.
to forget.
That will be the feel-good.
Great. Yeah, and if anybody wants to submit stories for the end of year newsletter, you have my email.
Mhm. Okay, Dennis.
Well, we haven't had a policy meeting, and basically, policy is still kind of screwed up from the hacking that took place, at MASC. Okay? So until that gets 100% fixed, we won't have another meeting for a while.
Okay, I have two requests. One, based on the issue that Carl raised, if policy can look into the guidelines with homeschool students and to see if anything has to be addressed. So if your committee could look into that. My other request is, what you wanted to comment, Carl?
No, you finish, and then I just have a question for Dennis
Oh, okay.
on the hacking issue.
Oh, okay.
But finish.
All right. And now it went out of my,
You want me to go
I
ahead
saw
and
you,
you'll think of
yeah,
it?
go ahead, because as soon as I saw your
Dennis,
hand.
Can I address this question to Dennis?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, and to you.
Okay.
What is the practical effect of the MASC system being hacked? What's the practical effect on policy development?
Well, the problem is that MASC had right before they got hacked, had put together this whole new kind of like system of data and so forth. And basically, since they've got hacked, they just have not recovered it yet.
And this has been a couple of months, hasn't it?
Oh, yes, it has.
Yeah, okay.
I remember my second issue, and that is whether we can have a policy related to distribution of material prior to the school committee meeting on agenda items. So if we could have a guideline, if someone requests part of our packet prior to the material being addressed and voted on at school committee, I want to know whether we should, your committee could discuss whether we should have a policy related to that. So I am on better standing when someone asks me, they want something, but we have not, as a school committee, seen it or voted on it yet.
Could you hold on to that until, since you are a member of the policy committee, could you kind of hold on to that until we finally do have a meeting? Our
Okay,
next policy
no
meeting?
problem. And
Okay.
I'll send you details of it and that. Okay, yes,
Just
Carl.
very briefly, I'm also, I know you didn't forget me, you just didn't mention me, but I'm also a member of the policy subcommittee. And I strongly am in favor of what Bonnie has asked for, because I think it's very important in the communication process about
Thank you.
what people want to address items on the agenda, that we figure out a way that people are as well informed about what we're going to talk about at each particular meeting as is possible. I mean, there's some things that are not possible because we don't really know, but some things we do, and if we could let the public know, they would be able to have greater input. So I think Bonnie's idea is a very good one.
Thank you.
And I support it.
Thank you. David, quick, please.
On the policy issue, the MASC is clearly going to take a very long time to recover. These sorts of hacks are complicated and cause a lot of problems. There was a spate of hacks. Even the Marshal Service got hacked during this last spate, which impacted MASC. Given that we have policy changes that we are thinking we need to make, it probably makes sense to simply proceed based on what we have and not worry about what MASC is recommending, because there's no telling if they're even going to be able to recover that information at this point. And that seems unlikely, given it's been a couple of months. So I think we should just proceed and have meetings and deal with the issues we have forward that are concerned now, rather than waiting for MASC.
Okay, Dennis, will you take that under consideration?
Yep.
Okay. I'm happy to say, right now, nothing from personnel and negotiations. Art?
Nothing.
Okay. The superintendent evaluation subcommittee, Beth, do you want to address this on on the material? Or you
No,
want-
I think
or
Sarah should
Sarah?
talk about the timeline first, and then I can give
Okay.
an update.
We have a motion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, the
Jim is out of the 48 states, so our recorder, Sarah, has the motion for us.
Does that mean that he's either in Hawaii or
Yes.
Alaska?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Hawaii.
So the motion is the superintendent.
All right, guys.
All
No,
The Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee recommends to the full school committee to approve the process timeline for evaluating the superintendent. And the timeline is as follows. The survey will go out on May 15th.
that's this coming Monday.
And then the survey will close on May 30th. The subcommittee will have results compiled by June 11th. And the subcommittee will meet with the superintendent on or around June 9th. And the final evaluation will be presented to the school committee on June 15th? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Okay. We would like a motion to approve that.
So
What-
moved.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, Art, thank you. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. David?
Aye.
Nancy?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes, so unanimous. With that, can you just forward to the full school committee that,
That timeline?
that motion that was approved, because it holds the timeline? Thank you very much. And thank you for pitching in there. Executive minutes review, Carl?
I have to say this, if any, this is gonna take about half an hour to 45 minutes, so if someone wants to get a coffee or a cupcake, go ahead. I'm joking, I have nothing.
Can you go back a little bit?
Yes.
So I just, I promised Mr. DePisa while he was under the palm trees that I would just tell you what to expect on Monday. I didn't, I know you find it shocking, I haven't had 3 seconds in a row to send this all to you, but you'll get a little festival to go with your evaluation. So this is an example of what you will get on a SurveyMonkey survey that will be sent to everyone. I don't expect, you're not reading it right now. This is last year's, by the way. But it will have the goal, the indicators, the elements, what it means to be proficient at the goal, and some of the key actions that that would act as evidence to show that the goal has been met. You will also get the updated version of, you can tell what I'll be doing, Happy Mother's Day, of going through each and every one of the goals, elements that we had together in this collective goals, and I will have updated any additional action steps that I think would help. You will also get a copy, you need all these in front of you when you're doing it, the strategy for continuous improvement. You will also get a copy of the rubric that the state gives, which will show you all the elements, the indicators, what it means in each category to be exemplary, proficient, needs improvement, unsatisfactory. If there is something that you would qualify as needs improvement or unsatisfactory overall, you need to state why. You can't just say that and mic drop. So comments and feedback are welcome. And I think that's everything. So if you're,
I just would like to add, comments and feedback are important because that's how the subcommittee formulates the entire evaluation. And just to let you know, there have been times when the newspapers have taken the entire report and published it. So what we like to be able to do is to have information from each of you. Plus, Beth has more than anybody ever wants to read of support material. So if there's a question you have, because it's something you have not been able to observe because you don't live in this building the way Beth does, please contact Lynette, and she has binders of the support material. Carl?
This is presumably coming to each of us by email.
yeah.
Correct.
Is there a timeline?
Yes,
Yes,
it was
she
just,
just read it.
it was just said.
This is, okay.
Yeah,
this
so
is
it will come,
related-
the survey should open, it's supposed to open on May
Monday.
15th, on Monday. And
And then it's a 15-day period.
Correct.
30th.
And
Correct.
Sarah will send to us, everybody, the motion that we just approved.
Right.
The motion holds all of those dates within it.
Okay.
So you'll be able to follow that.
essentially, we have 15 days to complete
Right.
whatever is required with these documents that we'll be
Right,
getting.
exactly. David?
Is this survey just us as a school committee?
Yes.
Or is this available publicly?
No, no. It is, that is our one duty that is required this way. It's not for sharing for anyone. It is the school committee's evaluation of the superintendent.
And so this is not anonymous then, obviously. Do we have a mechanism to collect some kind of feedback, a survey like this for the community more broadly?
No, and that is not part of the topic, all right, at this point. This is the superintendent's evaluation, the subcommittee, all right? Curriculum subcommittee, after 90,000 changes, Nancy and I and Julie will be meeting on Monday at 11 a.m. Monday is turned into one of Beth's days for all of us. So we'll have a report afterwards. Early childhood and childcare, nothing. And with everything, I'm going to say the same thing, with everything going on with the regional planning board, I don't think it is appropriate at this time to be fooling around with our regional agreement because people may just kill us, is my decision at this point. Kyle, I'm putting you on the spot. Do you want to comment at all as our liaison to the Eagle Fund?
Oh, I mean, it was a nice little ceremony, I thought. I mean, it's the first time I'd been to one, and, I was, one thing Sarah from the South Egremont School was there and had applied for a grant for flying deer, which my daughter Avery had participated in there, and so Noah missed out on it this year, but my son Ansel will get to participate in it, and they loved it. So, and I thought it was I can't remember every grant that was given out, but it was a nice event.
It was really feel good. That's one of the things I wanted to put in the closing newsletter, because what we found, they used to do phone-a-thons. Nobody answers the phone, and most people are on cell. So we have to find ways to do outreach. So maybe we could work on an article for the newsletter for the Eagle Fund. They gave more money this year than ever before. They're only permitted to give the accrued interest on those two funds, and the programs that they encouraged with the grants were really make a difference. Everything from planting to the programs you had to everything. Yes, Nancy?
I just want to say, as one of the members of the original board, to have created the Eagle Fund, it started, and Janet's fund, they started as these little tiny minuscule funds. I think by the time we started the actual Eagle Fund, we started with just under $12,000.
Wow.
And it's really exciting to see. I actually found the article. Someone gave me an article about it. Yeah, someone found it. This is one of the many articles. Sad story, there was collection from a babysitter that my kids had who died very young. She was never healthy to start with, but she had collected this whole series of
If you
history.
have it, could you share it?
I will try and find it again, yeah. But it was very exciting. So we knew when we started it that it had a huge amount of potential to affect a lot of things. And when I look at what gets funded, I'm really delighted. So, yeah, nice work for everybody who's continuing.
And it's wonderful because they come up, with great projects. 2 of the projects were initiated by students, the robotics in different ways. Chris is able to put in for different grants. Can be just that difference that allows a program to thrive.
And the process to apply for the grants is really reasonable. I looked into it this year because I would love to have done, I don't have the time to do it at the moment, but do an art as a tool for citizen science project and through the district, through the entire district. And the process for applying for grants it's super sensible, super straightforward.
Yes. I've given workshops here
It's great.
over and over again so that people do participate. So if there's something you hear from your children about wanting, hey, start thinking about it now.
Yes.
All we love to do is be able to encourage these initiatives. Future agenda items. Well, you can see, if you have other items that you want as future agenda items, please send them to me so that we can put them on future agendas. All right? And guess what? Yes?
Do we have a date for end of school yet?
June
Okay.
22nd.
No.
I missed it someplace, so and my second one is when awards night is.
For which? The 31st? The 30th? 31st.
Of May?
Yes.
I couldn't find it anywhere today.
So it's on
What
it's
was
definitely
that?
on the
Yeah.
event calendar. That's one of the things I was going to say at the end of my report. But there are tons of wonderful events coming up, and we will do our best. The principals each week send them out in their weekly reminders, but also look at the event calendar because things sometimes move around a little bit. But we welcome anybody and everybody who wants to join us. So
And it's so good when we have
it's great.
like that.
It's great.
And we only have one of our 2 principals at this point, but I have to tell you how much I appreciate that we now get your weekly newsletters. It makes such a difference in being able to follow what's going on. And I'm going to tell you one very fast story. The arborist showed up yesterday to my house just as I was leaving for the softball game. And it turns out he went to Monument. But even though he lives in our district, his children are here in 1st and 4th grade. He is totally in love with our district. He couldn't really afford to get a house here at first, and he was talking about moving up to Pittsfield, our old farm. He finally found something. He said he could not be happier with Charles Miller. He could not be happier with the education his children are getting. So we should feel good about that. And he said he may have a child in 1st and 4th, but they know all the kids in between. So it was It almost made up for my missing the game. Almost. Okay, well, we're adjourned.
Well, not yet.
What?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, I thought we had that, or see how, all right, thank you. Art has the motion, the second. Nancy, any objection? Seeing none, we're adjourned.